With another weekend ahead of us, we wanted to make some good progress on the van. We decided we wanted to remove the awning brackets, the sliding door window, remove the primer from the passenger side, and then respray any of the exposed metal with an etch primer. Martha was working on removing the primer with some wet and dry sandpaper, while I started to remove the awning brackets. I used a hot air gun to heat up the brackets, which in turn would soften the glue holding the brackets on, so then I could use an old flathead screwdriver to slowly pry the brackets away from the roof. When I had loosened the brackets enough, I used a file to slot in behind the bracket, so I was able to get the leverage to get the bracket off the roof. With the middle bracket off, it was just the brackets either side to remove. The second came off nice and easily. It was just the one to the rear of the van left to remove. The brackets did also have 2 bolts at the top. I had to loosen the nuts from the inside to remove these. With a little bit of persuasion, the last bracket came off. I just needed to tidy up where the brackets were by scraping the spray paint and the glue off. I used a chisel for this, making sure not to scratch the roof. Martha was almost finished removing the primer from the passenger side. I had finished removing the spray paint and the glue where the awning brackets were. I then cleaned this side of the roof, and we decided to call it for the day. I came back the next day to remove the sliding door window and spray the exposed metal on this side of the van with an etch primer. I was able to remove the majority of the screws that were holding the window in place, but there were a few that had corroded so much I just couldn't undo them. For now, I moved inside the van to remove the wooden frame around the inside of the sliding window. With the screws that had corroded, Dad used a grinder to create a slot in the head of the screws so we could undo them. With all but a couple of the screws removed, I used an old flathead screwdriver to clean around the perimeter of the window, as there was some silicone around it and some adhesive tape holding the window on. I drilled out the last couple of screws that were too far gone to do anything with. Then I finally managed to get the window free. With the window off, I used some silicone remover around the perimeter of the window. I left this on a little while and then used a chisel to remove the remaining silicone and adhesive tape. The tape did not come off easily, so this took some time. After I finished removing the tape, I used some sandpaper to remove any remaining spray paint and silicone residue. I was really happy with the progress made on the window. Frustratingly, at this point it started to rain, so I couldn't spray any of the exposed metal today. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and ring the bell to see what happens next.